And we are recording. Just to start off, to a little introduction. It's slightly different from what we typically do in our in-person meetings of going around and having everyone introduce themselves. That might be a little difficult this evening with everyone joining us electronically, but some of the leadership that is on the call tonight, myself, Jackie Geiselman, I'm one of the co-presidents here. Brandy, I'll punt it to you and you can kick it off, or I'll just go through. So Brandy Moe is our other co-president. We have Erica as well, who is our communications liaison, webmaster, technology rock star, amazing everything. Megan Lane and Ken, who will make an appearance potentially in the background, are our treasurers. And then we have Sharona as one of our past presidents as well. And so we do have a very full house. We are going to go ahead and get started right away. To give you a little heads up on the agenda, I will have Anita with District 7 give a short update from Councilman Clark's office. Then we will go to Officer Chavez or Commander Fleece with the District 4 Police Department to give an update and just some information regarding safety and what's been happening in our neighborhood. And then Molly, if you're okay, that will be our third presentation tonight about some exciting new additions that we have coming to our neighborhood. So in respect to everyone else's time, Anita, I'm going to go ahead and kick it off to you. And then again, if everyone could just stay muted until the end, and we'll take 3 to 5 questions at the end, and we'll just try and be as respectful to everyone's audio and visual situation. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Anita Banuelos. I'm with Councilman Jolyn Clark's office. I represent him on the west side of the district, so Valverde, Athmar Park, Ruby Hill, and College View. And I do live on the west side. I'm in Athmar Park. Jolyn Clark just wanted to let you guys know, thank you for supporting 2A, which is the climate funding for saving the planet, and 2B for housing our neighbors that are experiencing homelessness. And then he just wanted to say, you know, with the climate, that's going to be a 2.5 sales tax. That's going to help with climate change, building, transportation, a whole slew of cool things. And then, you know, we're going into the winter season, so make sure that, you know, if you need to report your neighbors, 311, you know, clean your sidewalks, make sure, you know, it's, you know, good for everybody. So you guys know how to contact me, anita.banuelos@denvergov.org. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, I shortened whatever I had on my tablet here. So yeah, just contact me there. And if you need my cell phone number, I can also send that to you guys, or if you can just distribute it to everybody on this call. So quick and easy.
And I will add on too, I know we heard from Danielle and Brandy a little bit earlier this evening as well with voter initiative and helping Denver residents get more active in our voting community. So that's just a great kind of tie-in to what Anita just mentioned with District 7 and some of the really, really great initiatives and some cool proposals that we are able to have our voice heard on as Denver residents and registered voters. So pretty cool opportunity there too. And thank you. Is there any questions? I guess we can, at the bottom of your screen, on the very right-hand side of everything, you can see there's a little reactions button. If you have a specific question, you could potentially put up a reaction and we can manage it that way so that we're not all trying to unmute and bombard at once. Is there any? So Alex and Steph, it looks like you guys thumbed up first. Did you have a question? You can either unmute yourself or I can unmute you.
I was just using it to say, okay.
Perfect. To show that it works. Awesome. Exactly though. Did anyone else have any questions for Anita or Councilman Clark's office? Perfect. All right, we'll just keep things trucking along. The the representation that we have from District 4 Police Department. So I know we had a couple representatives joining us. I'm not sure how you all want to divide and conquer that, but we appreciate your time tonight, and I will kick it off to you.
Well, I'll go first, and I'll introduce Jason Anderson and I. So Jason Anderson and I are the District 4 Community Resource Officers, as most of you know. If you guys have any questions, you can email either one of us, jason.anderson@denvergov.org.
Jeremy,
You're muted.
Unmute.
There we go. For some reason it keeps muting, but if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask us anything at any time, or I can't, so I'm on a Zoom phone, so I can't really see, so I don't know if you want to let me know if something pops up. We'll start with what's going on in the district. Jason will go over some stuff he has, or vice versa. So starting off, we'll go with the stats in Ruby Hill. Burglary went from 34 to 38, which is 11% increase. Larceny went from 53 to 44, which was a 17% decrease. Theft for motor vehicle went from 64 to 76, which was an 18% increase. And motor vehicle theft went from 52 to 73, which is a 40% increase. With that being said, your motor vehicle is going to start going up as the colder months happen, just because of puffers. Take that into account. A lot of people that start their cars, they go in the garage, or they go back in the house, and they just forget their car is on, or they just run back in the house. People are looking for those crimes of opportunity, or opportunities of crime. So make sure that you are, if you do puff or something like that, you're sitting in your car. I know nobody wants to sit in a cold car, but that's like my fear. Just start my car and run in the house. Don't do that. So those are your stats. That's the only one that really jumps out to me, is that motor vehicle theft at a 40%. Other than that, everything is on a decrease. And I'll talk about a couple things over the district that Commander wanted me to speak about, and then we'll let Officer Anderson as well speak. So all in all, I got an email today from Levi, which is our stat guru. He does all of our stats in District 4 and has all the percentages. So Levi went ahead and let us know that the gun-related crimes in Ruby Hill was 26 out of a total of District 4. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with District 4. It goes from 6th Avenue south all the way to Crestline and Wadsworth, and then it goes Platte West all the way to Sheridan Boulevard, and everything in between 6th Avenue and Crestline and Wadsworth. So it's a very big area. The gun-related violence crimes in all of District 4, the borders I just spoke of, are for 465. Ruby Hill only accounted for 6% of those gun-related crimes, which is really good considering what you think you may have heard or what people may have said. Your crime is actually very low with gun-related violence. And it doesn't say that's not all crime, that's just gun-related crime. We'll talk about that. Does anybody have any questions about that? Anything related to gun crimes or anything they may have heard in the district, in your area of Ruby Hill? Again, I can't see any questions or anything like that, so just let me know if there's any come up.
I'll work on that
Okay.
with you too. I'll keep an eye out to see if there was any reactions. And I appreciate hearing, I'll start with just a quick question too, in regards to Ruby Hill specifically. That's great. It is reassuring to hear that. And I think a lot of things that we are aware of in this area, it does involve other neighborhoods. Like Athmar is just to the north of us, and there was a couple instances that happened not that long ago in Athmar, and potentially up and down along Federal. And so I think that was just kind of the sense that the neighborhood is feeling, is that there has been an increase. But it is reassuring to hear the statistics. So I didn't know if you had any reference to any of those. And I will keep an eye out for any reactions if there are other questions.
So Commander also wanted me to touch on all around violent crime is up 21%. A lot of that stuff also, many of you watched, was the stuff that was going on in federal. So back in August 23rd, we started an initiative to do 1 lanes closure. So that was supposed to run until December, and it's going to continue to run until December. And then after that, we're going to do it periodically. So there was a huge decrease on Sunday nights, which was everybody on hands on deck for that one. It was pretty busy. We had a lot of extra police presence in that time. So it's been busy. It's been busy all around in Denver, not just District 4. So we're going to continue to do the 1 lane enclosure. Let's see what other stats I can tell you. So overall, I've been a community resource officer in District 4 for going on my 2nd year now, and we have Jason that just came on the team, which is a huge asset to our department. For one, he was a sergeant with, and I'll let him talk about it, but he's a sergeant with Douglas County for 20 years. The guy's full of knowledge. I've only been a cop for so many years, so he's got a lot of knowledge. He helps with a lot of areas that I'm not that rehearsed in. Jason does a really good job of keeping me pretty centered on a lot of stuff. So he's a great asset to our team. I know he has some stuff he can talk about, or any things that he can add in there, and he can answer some questions as well.
Well, I'm pretty sure that that's the nicest thing Jeremy's ever said about me to anybody. So you guys are recorded even, which is even better. No, thanks everybody for having me here. I've been here since, I've been to Denver since May of 2017. I've been on patrol up until March of 2020, and that's when I came over to the CRO unit. It's been a lot to learn. It's like drinking from a fire hose sometimes. It's a totally different type of police work that I'm used to. So it's been a learning experience, but a valuable one at that. Jeremy covered really most of everything that I know that the commander wanted us to talk about, or if you guys had any questions, we might be able to answer those as well. Just a couple others that I was noting on an email that the commander sent out regarding some of these stats. As it pertains to Ruby Hill, violent crime is up in Ruby Hill, 21.4%. But to put that into perspective, that is in relation to specifically, there's been 10 more aggravated assaults and 13 simple assaults. So those simple assaults are anything like if I push you and you fall down, or I cause you some sort of pain, to I punch you, or something that really is a little bit more serious. It could range anywhere in those categories. An ag assault is more, I'm using a weapon to assault you with, a bat or a gun or something like that. So that is, those, from what I can read here, are the reason for the 21.4% increase in the violent crimes in Ruby Hill. You had mentioned that Athmar is real close, which it is. It's just to the north of you. And they're up at 33.7% in property crime. Those crimes are attributed to motor vehicle theft and theft from motor vehicle and criminal mischief, which is damaging property. So a lot of what they're seeing is more property related, as where Ruby Hill's seeing just a few more persons crimes from the assaults. So those were just a couple of little things that I thought I would add in there. And was there some question about some shootings that had happened in the email that we got prior to the meeting, that some people were concerned about shootings? Is that correct? Is there a question about that?
I do know that there was a shooting just up the street from where my personal house is, and I do believe that there was a bunch of communication with your office, and I feel like there was, my neighbors were able to get a lot of their questions answered. It sounded like it was more of an a party that got out of hand and kind of an individualized attack. But I think the other things were just in general, that there seemed over the summer, and in particular what was referenced to federal. But yeah, that one shooting in particular was concerning, just because there shouldn't be parties happening right now, and then parties that get out of hand into that led to a personal attack using a gun. That was a little concerning, but it sounds like everyone was okay from it.
And I can give you a little bit of perspective on that, because I did some work up on that address, and it's in the 1200 block of South Seneca Way. And you're exactly right. It was a party that had gone after patrol, and apparently some people there had put on social media that there was going to be a party. And whenever you do that, you're probably going to get some unwanted people. My understanding from reading some of the call notes is that some of the people that were there were not from our area. They were from up north, Commerce City, North Denver, and they were down here at the party. And they were told to get out of the party, and things got out of hand because, somebody's pride got hurt, I assume, and there was a couple shots fired. There was a female that was injured in that shooting, but from my understanding, she'll probably make a full recovery. So that's good in terms of at least nobody was seriously hurt. And I checked on this address in question, and there's really no history there at all. So it appears to be an isolated incident, and hopefully they've learned something on how they put their parties together, and we won't have that problem again. Anybody have any questions that we can't see?
Yes, I have two questions. One from my right is, any recommendations on how to protect ourselves from personal crime, seeing as there has been an increase? I appreciated Officer Chavez's response with puffers, like not starting your car in that respect, but in general. And then also too, I think it was Steph had a reaction as well. So we'll have that question be next.
So one thing that I've done, even in my personal home, and if everybody has Ring is a great tool. And a lot of people are involved, like in a, you can was it Nextdoor, I think is an app, Ring has like a similar app, a social media app where people can share videos and whatnot. And law enforcement can tie into that community. And with that, I get people videos all the time that, that they share with us, showing people attempting to break into cars, coming up on their lawn, going in their backyard, things like that. And the common thing that I've seen and deterring a lot of these people is simply, believe it or not, lighting. They come up, the driveway's dark, and then the light pops on, and then they usually will just do an about face and go the other way. They know they're being recorded, and they're being well lit. So I'm not trying to promote Ring. There are many avenues out there that you can do for home security, but I do know that, particularly because it's what I used in my house, they have the one that has big spotlights on it, and as soon as there's motion detected, those spotlights turn on right away and it starts recording. So something like that is good for deterrence that I've seen. Don't leave things in your car that you don't want stolen. Almost all the time when I read these, people are saying, well, I had my purse in there, I had my wallet in there, I had my cell phone in there, and that's exactly why they're breaking into the car, because it's an easy target. And then also, if you're leaving your car outside, don't leave your garage door opener in your car. Because if someone does, they may not see any valuables. They may just see your garage door opener on your visor, and they'll break into your car and get into your house at a later time. So those are some things to watch out for.
Awesome. Steph, and then I see Erica, you have a question as well. So we'll take Steph's question and then Erica, and then we'll move on to our next subject unless other questions come up.
Awesome. So my question was, do you all have some really good insight into, kind of exactly why this increase is happening? I feel like we all have some guesses, but specifically why these certain things are increasing, if it's unemployment or whatnot. And the second part of that is, are there any opportunities for us, in the Ruby Hill community to help curb this at all? Yep, that's it.
Jeremy, you want to take that?
Go ahead. Go ahead, Jason.
No, go ahead.
So probably the biggest thing is getting to know. I'll answer your second part first. Getting to know your neighbors is huge. Developing a relationship with surrounding neighbors, just like Jason talked about, having the Ring camera, all those components were going to help you deter crime. Simply for the fact that when you talk to people, who's in your neighborhood, who should be there, what car should be there. If someone's casing the area and that car doesn't belong on your block, and it's just a couple suspicious people in a car driving up and down, looking in windows, trying door handles, looking at houses, and hey, I've never really seen that Chevy truck over here, or I've never seen that car over here. It's a little strange. You can, talk to your neighbors about it, communicate more. Those are all good things that we encourage, getting to know your neighbors and doing more things like that. The first part, we obviously know with COVID, a lot's going on. A lot of people aren't working, can cause, we did see an uptick in burglary. So that is for sure, as burglary is happening more often. But, it's hard to say that, it's blame it all on COVID. I mean, there's a lot going on. People don't have much going on. There's, restaurants aren't open full capacity, the malls, stuff, limited people in stores. So there's a lot. People are probably getting a little bit more desperate for money, which is going to cause a lot of property crime, which we've seen a huge uptick again in larceny, which is, theft from stores, stealing, things like that. So as a community, at Ruby Hill has always been a great community. We have great communication with them. Some really good people that are close in that community. So keep it like that. Keep the community policing there. Or not the community policing, but the neighbors, and keeping the community with, as a community, the communication is key. So, the ring doorbell and next door, look for our updates, but talking to each other is probably one of the best things you guys can do as a community.
I think
And
also,
Jason,
just to add to the rise in motor vehicle theft, is since COVID started, our jails and our courts have not been, running at full capacity, and they've been not taking people to jail and keeping people in jail for reasons that they would normally keep those people in jail. So we're seeing kind of a revolving door, especially with like car thieves, because the jails sometimes, turns them right out, and, they're making them just get right back on the street. So a lot of those people that are stealing the cars are the same people stealing the cars. They get arrested and they go back into jail and they right back out. So, that's maybe part of it there too, is we're seeing some recidivism in people that are, being booked in and just back out.
And just another thing is, Jason and I are with each other 4 days a week or 3 days a week, 10 hours a day, out around doing calls, neighbor complaints, everything. So Jason and I have actually arrested a few people on some serious charges. Motor vehicle theft. They had some warrant. They had 2 warrants for $1,000, different counties. Jason and I done this, sent the warrants off, and they didn't even want to take them in Arapahoe County. So COVID's doing a lot, and those people just get right off, and that's it. So they're still out and about with several warrants, and the jails aren't taking them, and they're committing more and more crimes. So, I mean, again, Jason's right, revolving door. It just keeps happening. So, but, do what you can at your home. Spotlights, cameras are huge for us, and more than one more reasons. So.
Thank you both. Erica, and then after Erica's question, we will move on to Molly's presentation, and then we'll conclude. Just for those of you watching the time, we appreciate you being part of this meeting.
My question was actually my husband. He was asking if you guys still have a place for purchasing or selling whatever for Craigslist. So you used to have a place to meet. I think it was at the District 4 building.
Yep.
That's still available.
Yes. So it's so you can call Jason and I, and we can head out there as well. It's just it's the parking lot, and it's marked with green. The sidewalks are green just to indicate where you can park. So okay. Absolutely. So, and if you want us to meet you out there too, we can also do that as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Good questions. And yeah, that's a great point too. And yeah, we really appreciate both of you being a part of the call this evening. Really, really great information. And we appreciate you still being available for the community, even
Absolutely.
in this virtual situation. And we will be moving on to Molly's presentation here shortly. Molly, you should be able to share your screen, but real quick, I did see, Steph, did you have a follow-up question?
Yeah, I'm going to be that person. Sorry. This is really good information. I do really appreciate you both being here to answer these questions.
Absolutely.
So I've heard some talk about the STAR program in Denver, and I want to get your guys' gauge on, are there certain situations where we would, do we have to call a different number? Like, let's see, you hear some shots in your neighborhood. Is that an appropriate reason to call at all? you know?
Um,
Or,
like shots fired calls?
yes.
So absolutely, absolutely. And when time comes and COVID, and I'm sorry to take so much of your guys' time. You guys can always call me too, because I feel like we're taking the entire presentation. So when COVID's over, we've been working with Anita and Joel and Clark's office. We plan on doing a neighborhood watch, and that neighborhood watch will go over a lot of this stuff in detail. And absolutely, you're never bothering us. There is more than enough cops on the street to handle calls like that. If you hear a gunshot or you think something like a gunshot, 911. Always, always, always emergencies, 911. Something's in progress, gunshots, something of that nature, seeing a gun, something that's in progress, 911. And if it's just to report a crime or a theft or something like that, you can call our non-emergency at 720-913-2000.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And I know that was confusing, 2 different questions, but wanted to
You're
know
fine.
different number. Thank
You're
you.
fine. Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
And if you guys, sorry, one more thing. If you guys ever, again, you can always reach out to Anita, reach out to any of us. We have no problem. That's kind of what we do. Again, community resource officers, this is our whole job. So don't ever think that you can't call us.
Perfect. Thank you. And yes, I do recommend everyone save that non-emergency number in your phone. It's helpful when you're out walking the dog and you don't have to look it up or things like that. Yeah, and speaking of walking dogs, perfect transition over into Molly. Thank you. And I know we have a couple other city officials as well on the call and on the Zoom meeting. So yes, feel free to share your screen and we will get going here.
I can't. It says the host disabled it.
Oh. I am sorry. Let me make you a co-host.
Okay. If it takes too long, it's all right too. We can just forego it.
I think you should be good to go.
Good to go. All right. So we're going to share it and then I will play it. All right. So my name is Molly Lanfear. I'm a senior health and rec parks planner I work for Denver Parks and Rec, and on the call as well is my boss, Owen Wells, who's a district planning supervisor. So we're tag teaming you guys tonight. I know this is the end of the meeting and my presentation is not very long, but I do like to, some of us have been on Zoom meetings all day. So I'm gonna start with a corny joke, which is, what did the dog say to the tree? Bark. You guys can steal that one if you want. So on behalf of Denver Parks and Rec, Ruby Hill is about to get a whole lot more dog friendly and we're really excited about it. So we've been working for a while internally and then with Councilman Clark's office because we heard there was interest, especially in Southwest Denver, to have a dog park. So we did kind of an internal audit of almost all the parks. Over 20 sites were considered. And we ultimately chose the location that you see here, which is between South Mariposa Street and West Arkansas Avenue along Sanderson Gulch. Yeah, let me go to the next screen because I can kind of go into details about why we chose it. So the site was chosen for several different reasons. A lot of the sites we considered, unfortunately, are in floodplains, which you guys may be familiar that is an issue for the area. So we want to stay clear of that, especially with dog parks. The area we chose is free and clear of the floodplain. But we're also really excited, as you can kind of see from the timeline in front of you, that we're not only going to do a dog park, but we're going to be upgrading and renovating and possibly moving within the park, depending on what happens, the playground as well, which is Sanderson Gulch Playground. If you've been, it has metal slides. So I'm sure kids love that on hot summer days. So I'm pretty excited about that. And we really look forward to working with you guys, Councilman Clark's office, and just your neighbors as well on this process. So in front of you is a brief timeline. This is just an announcement of where the site's gonna be, but by no means is it baked. we will have a designer on board in spring of 2021. And that's really when our community engagement begins, when we really dive into like what amenities will be featured and what the design actually looks like. So that goes from spring until winter, when hopefully we'll be presented with several different concepts, several different options, decide upon one that works for the neighborhood. And then if all goes well, construction will begin in summer 22, and we'll have a playground and a dog park in the fall of 2022. This is my dog, Bailey. And I know many of you have been advocating for a dog park for a long time. Thank you. I hope you'll continue to work with me on what I think is a really exciting project. And yeah, we'll be in touch early next year once we get that designer on board with next steps and kind of go from there. My information is here. Happy to answer any questions via email, via phone. Yeah, and that's it. I know I kept it pretty short, so.
We appreciate that. And I know that being at the end of the meeting is tough, but we were excited to close out all of our important information with your presentation. So I saw a couple celebratory
Oh, good.
reactions, but if there are any questions, we can take a couple. Otherwise, we will conclude. But Megan, are you just excited or do you have a question? Just excited. Rachel was the next celebration, just making sure, just excited versus having a question. I'm thinking so. And then Erica, did you have a question or just excited?
Quick question. Just you show the map, and I saw we know where the playground is and all that stuff. Was it the whole space there, or I mean, there wasn't really any like outline of exactly where it was, or is that still up in the air?
No, potentially it's the whole space. We have no plan, like we could move the playground, we could keep the playground where it is. There's options for the dog park could potentially go where the playground currently is. So the whole area.
Cool, thank you.
Of course, there's a slope there, so it won't be on the downward slope.
Yeah.
But that's all.
I guess I do have a quick question about just community engagement. We have quite a few of our neighbors on the call today. I think it's probably because a lot of us have pets and a lot of us are excited to be able to access this. But when you are getting into that design phase and are looking for community input, do you know what that process is going to look like yet, or what we can help facilitate or support as the neighborhood association?
Yeah, I mean, every process is a little bit different depending on the project, but for this one, I mean, it's a fun project. It's pretty exciting. So once we do have a designer on board, we'll probably come back to you guys with an initial, what do you want? What do you think you want? We'll probably do some specific youth outreach for the playground portion. So go to schools, engage local schools and that sort of thing. But it's going to be one of those things where we come to you, ask for initial thoughts, come back to you then with concepts. There'll definitely be public meetings, but you guys are one of our key stakeholders, so you'll be included on all our community engagement going forward.
Awesome. Well, you have a future participant right back there that you can see now. Is there any other questions or comments that we can have for the good of the community? And if not, we really appreciate you guys spending a little bit more time on the computers, in front of screens, participating. This was a great group, great questions. Really, really appreciate it. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, I will go ahead and stop recording. Again, we will be sharing this information electronically. Molly had actually provided her presentation beforehand, so we have that we can share for those who are not able to attend tonight. But again, thank you all very, very much, presenters and participants. It was great seeing everyone. Enjoy the rest of your evenings. We'll see you and chat soon in electronic environments. Bye, guys.
Thanks, Jackie.
Bye.